What's good, Commanders fans? Another day of the Brandon Aiyuk saga. Brandon Aiyuk possibly to DC, or trying to force his way to DC, or trying to force the 49ers to pay him $30 million, or trying to force them to join his best friend, Jaden Daniels. So now it gets even more interesting, or even odd. I feel like this is the first time we've ever seen this. Now I know players are best buddies on different teams and stuff like this, but this is probably the first time that we've seen this really out in the open like this. Another player posting another team's play, or a picture of a different team's play. And I know it's OTAs, so they may not be going into full detail of the plays, but it still is. They still are going through installs and getting some plays in there. There are some things that they don't want other teams to see at this point. Not as extensive as, of course, like training camp, where there are legitimate closed practices, or they don't want fans to record during training camp practice. But to get to it, Brandon Aiyuk on TikTok posted a picture of Jaden Daniels at quarterback. So you see 23 out there. That's Chris Rodriguez. You see number 6. That's I want to say the guy from Arizona. And then on defense, you see a couple of guys out there. It's hard to see the numbers, but I do see Jordan McGee out there on the right side. And that's all I can really tell out there. Number 51. That's all I can really tell number-wise. But you kind of see somewhat of a formation a little bit, but you don't see the wide receivers. So he didn't show too much, but he did show something. I know I see some fans and some people getting upset because they're like, why would Jaden Daniels give him film or access to film and show him stuff like this? You know, it's somewhat immature and stuff like, or odd that Jaden's allowing this. Should Adam Peters step in and Dan Quinn and be like, hey, I know you guys have a bromance, but we need you guys to kind of really, you've already been on the Pivot podcast. You know, you've just been around and stuff like that. There's just been a lot of smoke, a lot of smoke going on. So, and then not only that, Brandon Aiyuk posts a picture of Jaden Daniels' Heisman Trophy. No harm there, no foul, nothing like. I don't have a problem with that or anything like that. But the posting of a play, it's something to keep an eye on. I'll just say that. I'm not freaking out or anything like that, but it's something to keep an eye on. So I do kind of think Adam Peters should have a conversation with Jaden and be like, hey, I know you guys are best buds, you guys have a bromance, but do we need to put a restraining order on Brandon Aiyuk? So, just joking around a little bit. But Brandon Aiyuk, I mean, he really is adamant about the Commanders. He already said it on the Pivot podcast with Ryan Clark and the Fred Taylor and Channing Crowder. Excuse me. So he's already brought up the Commanders' name a couple times. FaceTime with Jaden Daniels continuously, saying that the Niners don't want him, stuff like that. So there's just been a lot of stuff going on. So, ultimately, I don't really think a trade's going to happen this year. Now, Aiyuk keeps up the antics, maybe they will lower the price, because we already know that Adam Peters inquired about Aiyuk. Adam Schefter said that there was a trade that was offered, but the Niners' price was too high. They probably wanted a first-round pick. Personally, I would do a second and a fifth. There's the trade on social media, second, a fifth, and De'Ami Brown. I highly doubt they want De'Ami Brown. But a second and a fifth, I think, is good enough for Aiyuk. Now, of course, you got to pay him. He wants $30 million. He wants around with Amon-Ra St. Brown got. Excuse me. So he wants to get paid, man. I mean, he's a legitimate receiver. Second team All-Pro last year. 1,000 yards receiving for 2 seasons in his career. Former first-round pick. Still very, very young. They're going to pick up his 5th-year option. I think they already did, if I'm not mistaken, because I know the deadline already passed. So he had 7 touchdowns last year, 8 touchdowns the year before, 5 touchdowns the sophomore year, 5 touchdowns his rookie season. He did get better when Brock Purdy took over. But, I mean, he's a legit receiver. I talk about this all the time. Him and Terry together, and then Jahan is your number 3. That's a nasty, nasty receiving core. I mean, I love what teams have done for their young quarterbacks, like the Eagles, traded for A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown were on FaceTime a lot, so it's kind of similar to that. He wanted to be away from the Titans. Keenan Allen, the Bears traded for Keenan Allen to help out their young rookie quarterback in Caleb Williams. So I love when I see GMs and teams help out their young quarterbacks. I love seeing that. So I'm for the trade. I'm not banging on the table for the trade. Maybe this is something we do next year where we sign him or something like that. But If they don't trade for him this year, I'm not like crying over it. I'm not doing that. But I think it would be a solid move to help Jaden Daniels' development to have another weapon out there, because after the two guys, after Terry and Jahan, it's like, Luke McCaffrey, De'Ami Brown. It's kind of like, it's a lot of unknown. I'll say that. Luke's a rookie. De'Ami, we haven't seen consistency at all. Jamison Crowder's a good punt returner. And then Olamide Zaccheaus is a good number 4, number 5. Demir Bird is a good number 4, number 5. Excuse me. I like Mitchell Tinsley, but he hasn't done anything in the league yet. So after the first two guys, it's like, where are we going to get consistent production from? So at that standpoint, but it's like you attack receiver before you shore up the offensive line is the biggest question mark to me. But, I would love Aiyuk on this team. I would love him on this team. I love bringing in weapons, bringing in explosiveness, and bringing in a different dynamic, especially, excuse me, a second-team all-pro receiver. You don't really turn that down. It's hard to turn that down. So, yeah, you look at the timeline here with Aiyuk. He, on February 12th, I say this all the time. Every time I make an Aiyuk video, it's just getting old, and I do want something to finally just happen. But this is a process where you're just going to wait it out. Is he using the Commanders as leverage to get a new contract? That could be the case. They did meet not too long ago. That was the day then they, excuse me, when he was on the podcast, they allegedly met. Now, Jaden Daniels was not at the meeting. A lot of people get this misconstrued that Jaden Daniels was at the meeting with Aiyuk when Aiyuk met with Shanahan and met with John Lynch. Jaden Daniels was not there. He was not there. Oh, and then the picture at the mall. It wasn't Tyson's Corner, apparently. It was like somewhere in Southern California. Somebody commented that on my video. It was not at Tyson's Corner. It was somewhere in Southern California where they went to the mall together and they took a selfie. All right, so I'll look at the timeline, excuse me, and then I'll probably wrap this up, guys. Aiyuk followed on February 12th. Aiyuk's girlfriend posted on Instagram. It might be the last time we step foot at Levi's because we might not be out here. We might not be here next season. Also, Aiyuk followed with a post of his own that stated, "Don't forget what got you there." On February 13th, Aiyuk's best friend posted, "This is the exact reason why we're leaving San Francisco." Then on March 3rd, Dan Graziano reported that Aiyuk is a potential trade candidate if no extension is reached this offseason. On March 25th, John Lynch said that the team is in contact with Aiyuk's camp to work out a long-term contract. Aiyuk then responded via IG with emojis, "Money talks, bullshiggity walks." And then on April 12th, Aiyuk unfollowed the 49ers on Instagram. And this is what guys do nowadays. It's 2024. Stephon Diggs did this all the time. Antonio Brown. Guys do when they unfollow the team and take the team out their bio. This is the kind of stuff that we see from young guys of this generation. This is why when I talk about this generation is different and coaches have to adapt, this is what I'm talking about. Guys are just different. It is what it is. Of course, I still believe in tough coaching, but you got to be able to adapt your players. I'm not condoning this behavior. Some of it is a little egregious, and it is tiring, and it is getting old. But this is what receivers do, and I'm so happy that Terry McLaurin doesn't do none of this stuff. Like when Terry went through his contract stuff, we didn't see him follow the team, all that. Like Terry was very, very professional about it. Nothing against Brandon Aiyuk, but it's just an observation. And then May 25th reported that Aiyuk appears to want the 49ers to beat Amon-Ra St. Brown's contract and is using it as a benchmark. So that's $30 million. June 4th, Mike Silver reported that Brandon Aiyuk might still be traded before the November deadline. Now, if he gets $30 million, Terry's getting $23 million per year. So he's going to be making $7 million per year more than Terry McLaurin. And you can argue that Terry McLaurin is a better receiver. Personally, I think Terry's a better receiver. He just hasn't had the quarterback situation, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm not really invested in the argument who's better. I would just love to see both of these guys on the same team in the Commanders uniform. That would be awesome. And then Aiyuk posted on TikTok a conversation with Jaden Daniels in which he states they said they don't want him back. He swears. So that's the saga, guys. That's been the saga that's been going on. You guys let me know what you guys think about the situation. Do you think it's going to happen? I think it has a 20% chance of happening this year. But if they do get tired of the antics, they did draft Ricky Pearsall. They already have George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, so I thought it was a little unnecessary for them to draft a receiver in the first round. But that could be them sending a message saying that they're ready to move on from Brandon Aiyuk, which they have not yet, and they have said that they wanted him back. Apparently, Ryan Clark said that too, that they want him back. Adam Schefter said that the Niners want Aiyuk back too. So we'll see what happens. All right, you guys let me know what you guys think. This is like the third or fourth video talking about Aiyuk, but it's the off season. It's the dead part of the off season, so we'll see what happens with it. All right, guys. You guys let me know what you guys think. Does Aiyuk need a restraining order right now? So, I'm just joking. But do you think anything will happen at this point? Health Commanders, peace.